What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, guys, I am here to bring you all my review of Samurai Champloo Episode 4, Hellhounds for Hire Part 2. So let's get this started. So with this episode of Samurai Champloo, we pick up right back where we left off with the last episode, where we see Mugen and Jin fighting. The fight lasts for like a couple of seconds, really. We see that some of the Yakuza are getting in the way of Mugen and Jin's battle, and of course this makes Mugen pissed because he's like, no, I'm the only one that's gonna kill him, you know? So with that little distraction, we have it to where Jin ends up putting off a smoke bomb, and him and one of the other Yakuza members' sons, they end up getting out and pretty much escaping the fight. The rest of this episode kind of just focused on the two opposing Yakuza groups. We have it to where one of them wants to pretty much keep the way things are, safe, tranquil, and, you know, not really getting into the other's business. And then we have it to where in the other Yakuza group, we have it to where this really mean guy wants to basically take the other Yakuza leader's territory from him, but the only way he can, you know, do this is to, of course, kill him, unless he ends up winning a gamble. Basically, we have it to where the son of one of the leaders of the Yakuza groups, we have it to where he ends up going back to the brothel house in order to help his sister escape from the imprisonment that she is in the brothel house, but he doesn't really succeed at that. But what he does succeed at is actually stabbing and killing one of the other opposing Yakuza members. But because of this, he ends up getting into a little predicament in which the two Yakuza leaders have to go head-to-head in one gamble. One of them comes up with, if I win, I take your territory and I kill your son, a life for a life, while the other one says, if I win, I pretty much get my son back and you do no harm to him. And then pretty much chaos ensues. We have it to where Jin ends up getting into the mix of things as he is still playing the role as a bodyguard for one of the leaders of the Yakuza groups, where we have it to where Mugen is pretty much leaving the town. However, he has a little, you know, vision that basically tells him that, you know, he needs to actually rescue Fu, you know, so he ends up going back to where Fu was at in the brothel house. Come to find out that she actually ended up escaping, and then she gets up in the mix of things where we have it to where now she's going to be playing as the dice roller for the gambling party to which basically the two Yakuza leaders are at right now. And she has the most badass way on how she rolls her dice. She pretty much like hits them on the wall, you know, they go up in the air, ricochet, and then come back down on the ground, and then she puts the cup on them and then reveals the number of dice that are there. It was kind of cool to see how she ended up doing all that. I don't know, like she like I was like, do you have any experience of doing this at all? Oh, also what's kind of interesting about Fu is that we learned in this episode that she really doesn't have a family, so I wonder if we're gonna get some kind of like backstory on Fu to begin with. Also, it would be kind of cool to see how if we end up getting a backstory on Mugen and Jin as well, because what we know of them right now is that Fu, you know, we saw her kind of just, you know, having a little job as to like serving people food and drinks and all that in the first episode of Samurai Champloo. Mugen is pretty much, I guess, like a vagabond. I mean, he pretty much just goes out in search for like strong opponents, but really he doesn't have like a set destination where he needs to go. And then Jin, on the other hand, he's a Ronin, you know. So I mean, the Ronins and the vagabonds are more or less the same thing, but I mean, not really. So I just want to know what sort of backstory they had in the past, and I'm really hoping we end up getting it down the line. And of course, by the end of this episode, things get pretty chaotic because we have it to where the good sort of Yakuza leader who has the son, he ends up losing to the gamble, sadly, and pretty much tells the other leader of the Yakuza that, hey, I never intended to win in the first place. You ain't gonna get my my territory. So he ends up committing harakiri, which is basically suicide. And yeah, so he ends up dying, and the territory rights pretty much go to his son. However, the bad sort of leader says, hey, you're not gonna have this for long. But he ends up escaping eventually. But we have it to where one of his subordinates actually ends up killing him. So yeah, it wasn't really a win-win situation for anybody in this episode. And then we have it to where the subordinate and Mugen end up fighting because they said, hey, we have a battle to do, you know. Now, this battle it was pretty much just a strike match, you know. It wasn't like a head-on, toe-to-toe battle. It was pretty much just see who could be the fastest and who can wound each other first, because we see that the subordinate pretty much ends up getting cut. It doesn't seem like Mugen killed him, but basically what this battle proved is that Mugen is the better samurai. Woo! Alright, so that about does it for this episode review of Samurai Champloo, Episode 4, Hellhounds for Hire, Part 2. Let me know in the comments down below on what you thought about this episode, and of course, if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like. It always helps out the channel, and if you want to stick up to date to my future content on this channel, please hit that red subscribe button below, and you will never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys. Love you all, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace!